Okay, let's just jump right in. We are absolutely swimming in a world of data. It's everywhere, right? In the news, on our fitness trackers, in every business decision. But let's be honest, a lot of the time it just feels like noise, a chaotic mess of numbers. Today, we're going to change that. We're going to turn that chaos into clarity.
I mean, seriously, have you ever looked at a spreadsheet and just felt your eyes glaze over? It's a totally normal feeling. You have this sense that there's a real story hiding in there somewhere, but it's buried under this mountain of raw information. Take a look at this. It's just a simple list of house prices. At a quick glance, can you tell me if this neighborhood is expensive or if there's one really fancy house skewing the whole thing? It's pretty tough, right? Presented like this, it's not a story. It's just a jumble.
So yeah, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed by raw data, that's the exact problem we're here to solve. The good news is there's a systematic way to take a mess like that list of prices and get it to tell you its secrets.
And here is our toolkit, Descriptive Statistics. Now, don't let the name scare you off. This isn't about doing a bunch of complicated formulas just for the sake of it. This is about one thing and one thing only, organizing and summarizing data so we can actually get a handle on it. This is a real-world skill for making sense of everything around you.
So let's put on our data detective hats for a second. When you arrive at a crime scene, what's the very first thing you do? You don't just start firing off questions. First, you look around. You get the lay of the land. And in the world of data, that means making a picture. This is the golden rule. I can't stress this enough. Before you calculate a single average, before you do anything else, you have to visualize your data. Why? Because our brains are amazing pattern-finding machines, but we work way better with images than we do with long lists of numbers. A simple graph can give you an intuitive feel for the data in seconds.
And one of the most powerful tools for this is the histogram. The idea behind it is incredibly simple, but so effective. It just groups your data into different bins, like buckets, and then shows you how many data points fall into each one. It's a simple way to immediately bring order to all that chaos.
And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. If I just gave you a list of how many hours 25 students played video games, it would be a total blur. But this histogram, it tells a story instantly. You can see that most students are playing for over 15 hours, and you can see a really clear peak between 20 and 25 hours. We've just learned a ton without doing a single calculation.
Okay, so we've surveyed the scene, we've seen the shape of our data. The next job for us as data detectives is to find the center of the action. What's a typical or a representative value in this whole set?
We've got 3 main tools for this job, and you've probably heard of them: the mean, the median, and the mode. The mean is the one we all learned in school, right? Add them all up and divide. The median is literally the value that's in the physical middle if you line up all your data from smallest to largest. And the mode is just the one that shows up the most often.
So here's the crucial question. Which one do you use? Think back to our house prices. Remember that one house that was $1.2 million? That's what we call an outlier. If we calculate the mean, that one extreme value is going to drag the average way up. But the median, it doesn't care. It just points to the house in the middle of the list, no matter how expensive the biggest one is. This is exactly why you hear about median income, not mean income. A few billionaires can really skew the average and hide what's really going on for most people. All right, our investigation is almost wrapped up. We've seen the shape of the data, and we've found its center. The last piece of the puzzle is to understand the spread. Are all the data points kind of huddled together, or are they scattered all over the place? And our main tool for this is the standard deviation. It's basically a single number that summarizes the average distance each data point is from the mean. A small standard deviation tells you the data is really consistent and predictable. A large one tells you it's much more varied and all over the map. And this brings us right back to our golden rule. All these numbers, the mean, the median, the standard deviation, they are incredibly powerful, but they tell their best story when you pair them with a picture. The graph gives you the context, and the numbers give you the specifics. They work together. So now we have our full detective toolkit, right? We know how to visualize, we know how to find the center, and we know how to measure the spread. So let's solve a brand new case from start to finish. Here's a pretty relatable one. Let's say we go out and we survey a class of students and ask them a simple question. How many pairs of shoes do you own? And this is what we get back. Just like before, it's a mess. Is 15 a lot? Is 50 normal?
It's impossible to tell from this raw list, so let's apply our process.
First things first, we survey the scene. We visualize the data. That means we're going to build a histogram to see the overall shape. And maybe we'll create something called a box plot, which is another really great tool for spotting potential outliers and seeing where the data is all bunched up.
Next up, we bring in our numbers. We need to calculate the key stats. That's the mean, the median, the standard deviation, and the interquartile range, or IQR, which is just a fancy way to see the spread of the middle half of the students. And when we run these numbers, we find the mean is around 16 pairs, but the median is only 14. That difference, that's a really important clue.
And here it is. By combining our visuals and our numbers, we've uncovered the story that was hiding in the data all along. We can say with confidence that most students own somewhere between 8 and 20 pairs of shoes. But we've also identified an outlier, someone with 50 pairs. That one person is pulling the mean average higher, which is exactly why it was different from the median. And just like that, the chaos has become a clear, simple story.
This whole process, this isn't just some boring chapter in a textbook. It's a superpower. It is the ability to look at a report that would make most people's eyes glaze over and actually pull out the hidden story. You can make data talk. And this really is the most important takeaway of all. The goal here was never about the calculations themselves. It was about using those calculations as a tool to gain real insight, to get a true understanding of what the numbers were trying to tell us all along.
So the next time you see a news report, or check your screen time, or compare prices for something online, don't just see a bunch of numbers. Ask yourself, what's the shape, what's the center, and what's the spread? Because now you have the tools to find out. So what story is hiding in the data all around you?